Love for coffee, an active social life, and passion for travel. Mix these elements and you will find the job of a barista. After a trade show in Geneva, I interviewed Alessandro Rizzi, a professional Italian barista, who has shared his life experience on my podcast. Listen and see if this could be a potential career path for you. I'm so happy to have you on my podcast, Alessandro.
Thank you for hosting. Thank you to ask also. Grazie.
Yes, no, it was a pleasure. We met at a show and I saw you were so busy and passionate about what you do and said, wow, I have to interview you because I immediately thought of a lot of young people that could be very attracted to your job. And so that's why I would like you to share your experience with us. And you can start from the beginning. How did you get there?
I think I get there because I was speaking better English than some other baristas. That is the primitive reason, the original one, the start. I followed that basic suggest of older people that was telling me you have to study English fine. And you have to be able to understand, various kind of English, maybe Americans, British, in order to be efficient and to have at least a decent pronunciation. Being Italian, it's something that it doesn't come by itself, like being
natural.
German. Yeah, you have a little bit to study the pronunciation. Otherwise, you talk, but the people don't understand.
Yeah. It's really like that, no?
Yeah, exactly.
So that is, though, you were already a barista and you could speak English, so you could go a step further. So now, what studies did you do and then how did you become a barista?
When I was a teenager, I studied as a odontotechnician. Can you imagine? So my career has been to be a dentist in the end. But, I tried a little bit and I didn't like it.
So you did an apprenticeship in a dentist studio?
The odontotechnician is the one which build the teeth, is the one that it's like a mechanic, something like this.
A mechanic for the mouth.
Yeah.
Okay.
And in the same time, I was studying bass, electric bass. The thing that I liked a lot to organize concerts, which for a while were also, something that was keeping me busy a lot. And it was, also a success, let's say, in that time.
Ah, great. Music runs in the family. You told me about your sister.
Yes, it runs in the family. So,
when did you start being a barman, let's say a barista?
I was working a lot in clubs, bars, and concert halls, and of course I had always something to share something with the bartenders, barman, and people were coming from the nightlife or concerts and organizing things. So I was sharing. I was always in touch with the food and beverage events and food and beverage field and experts also. When I was 25, I started to make drinks by myself. And I was always, anyway, passionate about coffee, teas. I liked cook a lot, making cakes and something. Then I decided to make it a job when I was about 28. So I studied in a school, which is like a hotellerie school, but private.
So it's in hotellerie, you say, or is it like a specific school for baristas?
Yeah, you have the first thing that I have done, it was looking for a professionist as teacher. I mean, that was somebody that made a difference. I had in my mind that there was difference between school and schools. I don't know why. It was something because in that time wasn't famous, coffee waves culture, coffee culture, or maybe cocktails culture was a little bit famous. So I understood that there was some professionists very good. They were teaching and they could help me to put me in nice events or bars, and also I wanted to be well prepared.
What did you learn during the school years?
This was like 2 years course. It was 6 months, so in the end it was 12-month course, which is decent. That was my least, let's say, my startup period, the least period that I thought I had to study. It was 2 degrees of classic cocktails. So there you study mixology, you study, various technique, alcoholics. This was pretty long. It took both of the courses. Then there was an American bartending course, which also kind of this acrobatic stuff, and flair bartending. Everything of specialty coffee started about 2000. The first schools are about 2000. In Italy, we had the first one in the world, which is still existing. It's in Voghera. And these guys prepared me, and in that time I had also a kind of lucky, because about to my house, a couple of hours, there was this school, very important, of very prepared people that they are definitely pioneers in the coffee revolution.
And the coffee culture, what do you mean by coffee culture?
During the 70s, the 80s, and the 90s, there was some professionists around the world that they were in the green coffee market or in the roasting market, or also in machines, working in manufacturing industry, where they build machines like grinders or espresso machines, that they noticed that some of coffee were particularly fine, particularly good, and they had some taste profile very particular, very good also. Like, I don't know, there are some coffee that taste grapefruit, for example, no? These people have found the Specialty Coffee Association in order to save these varieties that before they were just thrown inside big lots of coffee, no? Let's say you have tons and tons, and they just were blending everything, no, together, and then they were sold all together. But they knew that there was some of these coffees, some varieties were very good. Some farmers were finer than others, and they started this revolution. And then this revolution was followed by the other revolution, which were the barista revolution.
So the role of the role of the person that makes your drinks and spends enough time knowing exactly what it is that you need to do.
Yeah, if you watch, for example, the bartending. In the bartending, we had a period where which the bartenders were very, very, very prepared, and also they were very cultured people. And other period, they were just a guy working in a disco, which is not bad, but I mean, maybe he was more prepared in DJs, than some others. Some others baristas, for example, so in the 60s, the 70s, they were speaking about 5-6 languages, and this was the mandatory, or they couldn't work in a bar.
Really?
Yeah, they were super cultured, and they were knowing maybe 200-300 wines around the world. They were knowing all the spirits around the world. They were people with a cultural level very, very high.
When you say barista, you're referring specifically to coffee?
Yes, the barista, then, the barista is the guy that prepared the coffee.
All kinds of varieties of different drinks based with coffee, right?
Yeah, based with coffee. Also, the barista has a long story, very, very long story. We also wrote a book about it, which is not released yet. And we
nice.
on purpose, we don't want to release it yet. And it's about all the long story. Yeah, the first baristas were guys in the beginning of last century. In the beginning of last century, the machines were between dangerous and very difficult to use, because there were these huge pressurized boilers, in the middle of the people, maybe in a train station. So the guy, in order not to make it becoming a bomb, the guy had also some knowledge about pressure and hydraulic, It was almost a plumber.
Wow. And now it has become pretty much a science almost, right? It requires a lot of know-how now.
As I told you, baristas like bartenders, they passed through the last century. They passed, edge point of very high culture as being just somebody there that maybe with an automatic machine. So somebody like casual that just working there, just a worker general, let's say. In this moment, the barista is passing one revolution, which started about 20 years ago, and now, of course, the scientific part take over, fortunately, and we are talking about more the technique and the physics that you have beside the coffee.
And as a barista, what are your chances job-wise? I mean, let's say you finish your studies, you become an expert of drinks based on coffee. What can you do professionally?
My choice when I was a teenager, as I told you, was more like to stop my school about that was about dentists, which gave me a preparation, at least scientific, a little bit. I don't mean that I know things, but I mean that if somebody if an engineer talk to me, at least I understand what he's talking about, And after a while, I can even understand what he mean. And now the occasions are in this moment. For example, I'm representing the culture and the know-how of a very nice company which is based in Venice, which is Ceado. It's a company that produce grinders since some years, like 20 years, something like this, but produce parts of grinders since 8 years. So they need somebody that was representing them and telling their story, and somebody was speaking the language of the baristas, or could face them in the same level and talk to them straight, about what they need and about what they should know. So this, for example, it's a job that I'm doing now mostly. If I want, I could pass through probably something with the farmers, like, I don't know, choosing coffee for some roastery. I could
Okay.
I could help us develop a roastery, for example. But everything of these are possibilities that I have because I've been deep into a part of the coffee field.
Yeah. Okay. And then your job in trade shows, the expos, is it also linked to the company that makes grinders?
No, that's not. That's the job that I found myself. I started to casually to work there just because it was, as I told you, could speak English better than the other. If I don't speak it good, I understand fine, and I can go with the flow. I don't think about. I can just talk, because I was living in the States for a while. So in the beginning was like this. Then I brought my coffee, the recipe of the blend that I made, and this recipe I made it during opening of a very nice coffee franchise in London, which has a very good quality, and this blend is created in order to everybody. But I never took compromise in the quality. So, putting this coffee and some other elements, the company could, may up level a little bit the customers. And when we met, we were in Bombardier. Bombardier told me that during the pandemic, we were 2 years dreaming about the coffee that I brought last time. So they were, oh, finally we can have your coffee. It's very good. It's roasted by a ace roaster, right? A real master. So I blend. I decided the taste. I told him we should do this in this taste with this kind, with this color. But the roaster master is a great. I mean, it's very a master, also very famous.
That's actually, if I think of a sommelier for wine, you actually have even a more involved job in the making of a coffee because you can choose the blends, you choose your roaster, and then you're part of the process of making the coffee from the get-go, basically, which is very interesting. I'm thinking of young people that would be interested in having a job that doesn't, where they don't have to be in front of a computer, or maybe they don't have to do studies like university studies, but something, let's say hands-on. And I can see this as being a very attractive profile for kids and for young people that want to start a career. So do you see that coming? I mean, do you see interest from the young people?
From the super young, yeah. From 20
Super
to
young?
29, super young considered my age. Oh my God.
Yeah, exactly.
They are not
I know.
super young.
It's
For me,
true.
they are super young. So you're not super young, 25 years old dudes. I was joking, actually. No, I mean, yeah, in that a lot. Between 30 and 40, actually I'm 48, so, between 30 and 40, they're very interested, but maybe they just started with something else. But between 20, yeah, a lot of them ask me how to
Yeah.
reach, yeah. And I see them, with the eyes of, I'm also senior, so, they see these
Yeah.
old barista senior, there, so they are kind of fascinated,
Yeah.
no? So they watch me, oh my God,
Yeah.
what do you do? How this does work? I see them because I do a lot of exhibition for Ceado, so I meet them regularly. I just
Yeah.
was in World of Coffee until before yesterday in Milan, and I had so many of them
World of
passing.
Coffee. It's like an international affair about coffee, right?
Yeah, there are the championship also between roasters or cup taster or latte art makers or
Latte art.
the baristas themselves, of course, the basic, and
Yeah.
which are
Barista
kind of
competitions,
difficult.
right?
Barista competitions, yeah.
Did you participate at any barista competition?
I was a judge until the 2009 or 10, around there, and I was a barista judge, technical judge, and then I've been also head judge for cup tasting. Because I studied that, I of course I was a little bit more, into watching if degrees were fine, temperature serving were fine, if somebody was just working casually or if somebody were understood what he was doing under a perspective of a technical prospect. So of course they put me immediately as technical judge.
Okay. And do you also consult bars or cafes that want to open?
I've done some, and weirdly, this could be nice to make the younger guy understand. I don't have a site about that. I don't have a website. I don't have a. My idea was I have to be super useful, not useful, hyper useful, out of mind useful. No, so I started to teach to learn some things until I had the occasion to become a teacher, and then I left being a judge, and I thought to be a consultant actually.
There seems to be so many varieties of the job that you can do as a specialist of coffee. From the expos where you're actually doing like coffee service in at booths, and I see that more and more because I do work at shows sometimes with my job. Now the very trendy thing is to have the best baristas on the side on the booth, and that's attracting potential clients as well. So which is very interesting. Is there any other declination, let's say, any other possibility of work that you can see that you haven't mentioned yet? From, of course, working in a bar, working at a, consulting for creating new cafes and new places. Is there anything else?
Yeah, they asked me during the long career, they asked me several things. For example, sometimes they asked me to run a spa. So I said, why me? I said, because of course they say, because you build if you are a director of a bar which produce, I don't know, croissants, bread, sandwiches. You have some guy working in the kitchen, some other working in the bar. You have to order a ton of things, take care about the roasting, which coffee is coming. Of course, it means that you don't know, you don't understand, but you're taking care of various things. So this one, they asked me, we are sure that you can do it. We are sure because it's piece by piece becomes a very big job, a huge scenario. And some other things. Now I see a lot of marketing office coming, ask to me to participate to various of their jobs, of their events, or another thing for sure, you become a very good seller because most of the time you sell and sell and sell. And if you're selling something good,
people come back.
People come back, and then without even try, you become an expert. But just because we are selling something good.
Yeah, that's very good. Is there something in particular that you love about your job?
Of course, staying with the people is very nice. Staying with people that I don't know. This is the first time that I meet. That I like. Yeah, it's so nice. You go on meeting guys, people, girls, old, young, children. That's, I have to say, it's something very, very, very fine. And also because I have to say that even if nobody could believe it, but the 99% of the 99.99% of the world are lovely. At least the guy that wants a coffee, have a nice breakfast, they are all lovely. So you have a positive vibration by the word,
No, that's very good. Is this something you would recommend young people to do if they want to start your line of career?
In the end, an ace that you can use is to know something else from another field, which is something, that can bring you in a level original, in a level that maybe other company needs. No, for example, in this case, they asked me to explain, something about technology. Okay, and of course I know what I'm talking about, but in order to explain this fine. I have to say that probably this comes from when I was playing bass and was talking to people and in the stage, for example. So it comes totally from another from another field.
Okay, that's a good one. Thank you so much. That's been
Grazie,
very
Laura.
nice. I'm happy I've met you. I'm one of the people who tried your caffè. Mille grazie a te, and I'll see you next time.
Thank you, Laura.
So, Barista it is. If you have specific questions for Alessandro, I'll be happy to pass them along. He's quite busy but very open to help. More interviews coming up on Job Tales, so stay tuned. Write me if you want to share a new career with me. jobtalespodcast@gmail.com.